Hello, I'm Felipe Sommer, founder and co-CEO at Nearpod. Nearpod is a mobile platform to create interactive lessons and share them in the classroom in a synchronized way using mobile devices such as iPhones, iPads, and iPod Touches. And that's the technology we're going to use today for this presentation. Hopefully you guys have downloaded and have several people joined in. Thank you very much. If not, you can follow on the main screen. So I'm going to tell you a story today, not about a young kid, but rather about an experienced teacher. And I want you to meet Joe. Joe is a math teacher at a private school in South Florida. He's been teaching for over 35 years. And he really is keen on creating his own content for his students. He wants to create his own math problems and really push his content to students. One day, Joe meets the iPad. And as many schools around the US and all over the world, iPads are coming to schools right now. Joe's school purchased hundreds of iPads as part of their one-to-one program. And Joe's class received 30 iPads. And Joe is certainly very happy and intrigued about how to use this technology in the classroom. But he's a little bit anxious as well. His issues are around, he's seen many cool math apps, but those apps are not in line with his lesson plan, do not allow him to push his own content, and most importantly, he doesn't know what the students are doing. They could be in Facebook, or they could be somewhere else playing with the iPad. So he's really anxious about that, until one day he meets Nearpod. And Nearpod is this amazing mobile platform that allows teachers like Joe to create his own mobile lessons, to engage students in a synchronous way, as I'm doing now with you, as I'm pushing content, and get instant feedback and post-session reports. It's really powerful, and Joe wants to give it a try. So he goes to the Apple Store, and he downloads for free both the teacher app, which is what I have here, and I'm going to show you a bit later, and the student app, which is what you guys have, and you're following my presentation. So he creates an account, and the first thing he needs to do is he needs to create a presentation, right? So in a very simple way, he goes to the online content tool that Nearpod created. He uploads his existing PowerPoint and Keynote presentations and add interactivities. Interactivities such as Q&As, quizzes, videos, drawing activities. It's very simple, and in a few minutes, Joe has his presentation. So let's see what he did. So first, he's conveying content. He's explaining how to solve for x in a simple equation, because he's just pushing content. But now the fun part comes, when he can actually engage the classroom. And I would ask you, please, to respond to me with, I have 25 of you logged in here, answering the question on your iPads. And there are a couple of very interesting things happening. Could you show that? So a couple of things happening here. One is, this is not 2 or 3 people participating as in the usual class. We have everybody participating here. Almost everyone has answered. That's one thing. Second thing, Joe knows how the class is doing, whether people are understanding what he's teaching. So he can share with everyone the aggregated results. So as you can see in your iPads now, you got the aggregated results. So this is pretty neat. Now Joe knows that people are understanding, and as I have 75% of correct answers. Not only that, but Joe can ask students to actually go through the process of solving this equation. So I would ask you to please quickly try to solve that equation, and drawing on your iPad and pushing that back to me. And I will start receiving your answers and being able to share back with you to illustrate some of the main points. So I'm going to cut some of you off when I start receiving them. So for example, I'm going to take this. I know who's doing it, but I'm not going to share that. But I can push this to everyone, right, to illustrate some of the common mistakes and good practices that students do. Then Joe decides to really go into explaining how is the right process to do that. And this is a very interesting feature. I've just now pushed video to all of you at the same time. So you're watching a video of how to solve this equation. I took the sound out just so it really works in an environment like this. But Joe has the ability to push content to everyone at the same time as well. And finally, Joe is going to go for a quiz to really get the level of understanding. So this is another interesting feature, as now you're going to be able to go at your own pace. So if you can go ahead and start answering the 3 quick and simple questions, we'll be able to see on my teacher app, it's there, how each one is progressing. And I can control not only, I can see where each one of you is at any point in time and whether you answering correctly or incorrectly. This is a huge advantage for Joe, as this saves a lot of time in grading. And he also can adjust his teaching based on the level of understanding of the class. Many teachers are using this as an exit ticket before the class ends. Here I can see that 75% of you answer correctly. There are some people, they're still they're in question 1. Some of you have finished. And again, as before here, I can share with you the aggregated results and your results. So I have 75% of correct answers, but each of you got your own pie chart with the answers that based on your performance in the quiz. Up to now, we talked about Joe using his own presentation. Nearpod has just released a store where Joe is going to be able to, in the future, share presentations and buy from publishers or other teachers. Really quickly, in terms of the lessons learned, the first one is based on talking to teachers daily. The majority of them are not ready to flip the classroom. Khan Academy has a lot of hype, and we believe it's going to continue to grow. But the lecture is not going anywhere, and teachers will continue to exist. Second lesson, iPads are here. Mobile is happening. We took daily to schools. iPad is in almost every technology coordinator agenda. So we thought we were really early, and we're not. This is happening right now.
OK, let's hear it for Nearpod. Well done. OK. I think it was clear what was going on, right? The iPods were being controlled and everything. So really complicated presentation, but really well executed. So well done on that.
And so we have a terrible question. We lost the presentation. Did you know that we lost the presentation? So in other words, this is kind of one of the challenges. So actually, I should say I love this technology. I think there's a lot of power in this, and I think that
but that iPad lost the connection.
Keeping teachers in charge of some of the things that are going on in the classroom is really, really interesting. But you dropped us out, right? And so we started like just hanging out and doing nothing over here. So how?
But you're not back in, right?
We're now back in, but we never got to take the quiz.
Okay.
We might have failed.
Does it give you an alert that somebody's
yes,
dropped off?
I have an alert. I have an alert here.
Okay, so do you know that? What happens? Talk a little bit about how robust. So the point was made earlier that technology has to really work in classrooms, because when you lose us, we're going to disrupt the class. So talk a little bit about how robust this is, what happens when someone drops off, and basically how.
Did you know that they dropped off?
Yes, I knew that there are some people who dropped off. They are in red in my attendance sheet here.
So you could have just said, okay, hold on a second, we're going to wait for Betsy and
Thomas. But then I saw you that
get
you
off
were
of Facebook.
Sort of
you wanted
to hurry up.
Yeah.
The reality is that teachers, when they teach, and we see daily as we go and be in our present at classes, they don't go like slide like I went today. This was a quick presentation. I was targeting 3 minutes, so there was a lot of content. The network comes back, and you probably were lost for 10 seconds or 5 seconds, and then it recovers and it just puts you wherever you need to be.
So that was a network problem rather than a Nearpod problem.
Yeah.
Hey, David, you were.
Betsy's point is very important, because we've seen this in a lot of technology deployment.
Right into the microphone.
We've seen this in a lot of technology deployment. When technology gets in the way, teachers walk away.
But he said you did notice it, and
Yes.
if you were an actual teacher, you would have stopped and gotten them on. So you've actually built that safeguard in.
Yes.
To be clear, okay. But you were nodding the whole time when you were watching this. I noticed You really like this, I think.
I do, absolutely.
Is this something Noah would buy this company, or is this something that like Noah would like really want to have
Got a
this
term
technology
sheet
or license
waiting in
it?
my-
Or is this
Yeah.
on your roadmap? I mean,
So the idea of classroom management systems are meaningful. This is, literally a microcosm of a classroom management system.
Yeah.
You're competing with Intel. You're competing with a lot of people who are trying to do full classroom management systems. So that's something to think about. You are also a content provider, right? So,
Well, we try to be content agnostic, and we have a content tool where teachers can create their own content, and publishers will come into the game in the future. We're striking some alliances.
yeah, I just think you need to look at all the content, the classroom management systems that all of the platform guys know they need in K-12.
Yeah. One thing that we see today, David, is that a lot of iPads are going to schools, and teachers and technology people get their iPads and say, what do I do now?
Yep.
Because it's
So
just
it's not
about
here yet.
individual apps.
Absolutely.
So we feel that this provides, and we're hearing from them every day.
Build a
This
better
is-
one, and Intel will buy you.
yeah. Joe, what do you think? As a teacher.
We have 280 iPads piloted right now, and I would love to load this on it. So it's, yeah. I literally have like a requisition waiting to sign up.
How much does it
It's-
cost?
Wow.
How much would it
It's
cost
free.
Joe's
It's-
250 iPads?
It's a freemium model.
Freemium?
Freemium. It's
So when
free.
when he does pay, what does he pay? Yeah. And what does he get for paying?
Well, he's going to get some, as a school, some admin features.
And how much?
Is it
We
per
haven't
teacher?
defined that yet. It's per teacher. It's going to start around $5 per teacher per month. It's really affordable.
Yeah.
And,
So
and
$50 a year for a teacher or something. Wow. So that's really affordable. Aiden?
Well, I want to shift gears here. First of all, I wanted to commend you for leading with product. I like the fact. And also, can I ask a favor? When we're having these teachers and other characters, can we please know if they're fictional or real?
We just made that
I think
note.
that would be- that
was
would
a
be
real
really
teacher in this
this
case.
is a true story.
Just oh, perfect. Just a side note, though. I really love the fact that you led with the product. I love the fact that there's a data layer. You got us all involved. I didn't type my real name. I was AS, and I'm glad that I scored perfectly. It was a great validation. We should say the judges that scored the highest should go first or have more time for comments. I also like the fact that behavior change is really difficult, and you're not trying to completely disrupt the classroom. Instead, you're saying, look, iPads are really popular. And I think one of the things that I'm not a teacher, but if I were a teacher and somebody said, use this tool, now your grading and evaluation is automated, you save time, so you can actually use your time to bring up the students that are not doing well. I like that aspect of it. Obviously, the teachers should be the final authority on that. So I was, in general, more bullish than some of my counterparts.
Okay. Will you pass this back to one of our esteemed teachers?
I have a question about differentiation. So if there's a kid that gets the problem done really quickly, do they just sit and wait for the rest of the class to catch up?
well, some of the best practices we convey to teachers is that they do longer quizzes. So some of the students will get to the third or fourth question, and some of them will get further away. Today, the capability of pushing differentiated content to different students, it's not ready, but certainly it's in the pipeline. And given the traction we're having, we're going to build that pretty soon.
I have a question about a different use. I have an EdTech company, but I also teach part-time as an adjunct professor, and 70% of all professors are adjuncts. Have you developed this for college and community college teaching at all?
Well, we see a lot of applications from K-12 to higher ed. It's both for the classroom and for distance learning, as this works over the internet, so anyone could have followed this presentation from anywhere. So we don't have a preference in terms of who can use
So this could work
platform.
for distance education as well.
For sure.
David,
It does.
what do you think?
I scored it the highest presentation because it was great how you led with the product, as Aiden said. And if you look back even, I guess, 10 or 15 years, at MBA classes, you had the little buttons where you could have the little light on how people were voting. And obviously here we are with much better technology. And so I think getting kids involved in the lesson is tremendous. So I think great job.
Thank you.
All right, very well done. Let's hear it for Nearpod.